Why did you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a bad man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. We are burning people for less. The men you're about to confront have no emotion.
Shalom.
Call Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bachakmadash. Baka Yahweh, Baka Yahweh Shai, Bachakmadash, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bachakmadash. Shalom, a double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elder bishops and the elders in the Akim and the Aqua of the hopeful elect. Shalom. As you see, there's a whole lot of information out there, that exposes Esau Edom and proves who the Israelites are. Not only the Southern Kingdom, so-called blacks, and the Caribbean island, Jamaicans and Haitians and Levites, who are the Southern Kingdom. That's the Southern Kingdom, so-called blacks, Jamaicans, all of the Caribbean islands, and the so-called Haitians, who are the Levites. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, but the Northern Kingdom as well, as we just saw in that video, because that was a movie about Christopher Columbus and his journey over here to the Western Hemisphere, and and it revealed, and that confirms, outside sources, that the Northern Kingdom, he knew exactly who he was going to encounter over here. And they used the Bible. Christopher Columbus used the Bible as his, because they know that if any word that he can trust, he know that he can trust the words of the Bible. And that's why they took out the book of 1st and 2nd Esdras out of the Bible and what's known as the Apocrypha, meaning hidden books, because the prophet Esdras detailed that about the Northern Kingdom leaving from the Eastern Hemisphere over there, around, Africa, the continents of Africa, Europe, and Asia. And then the Northern Kingdom, or the lost 10 tribes of Israel, they navigated after the Assyrian captivity, that they went under when they got taken away. First around in the 700s BC. And then after that captivity, they went ahead and left, and they journeyed across the ocean to the Western Hemisphere, and they resided over in this land, because nobody had claimed this land. It was open land, because this whole earth was created by the Most High, and the Most High created it for the Israelites as a paradise, the righteous bloodline to inhabit. And it ended up going all the way down, from Adam before the flood to Noah after the flood, and through Shem, which means, actually it's Shem, which means name. The name of the Heavenly Father would rest through a righteous bloodline from Shem all the way down to Abraham, Isaac, and then Jacob, and then Jacob is the seed called, as spoken of in Romans chapter 9. So the whole earth was created for the righteous bloodline, which ended up, passed all the way down through until it rests upon a lot of the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. And so Christopher Columbus, because they stole our records, and they study it diligently, they can only understand the carnal things, the superficial, I mean the surface level things, but the Spirit revealeth the deep mysteries of the Holy Scriptures. So they use the surface level understanding of the Northern Kingdom, the 10 tribes left, and they sailed a journey of a year and a half to the Western Hemisphere, and that's where they were at until, for a couple thousand years, until Columbus and them would later on down the road encounter them. And so when Christopher Columbus, he went on his journey, he had on the boat with him, doctors, and he had also other people, whatever, the individuals that he would need to embark on that, that sail on that journey, right? But he also had translators on that ship, because not for him, he needed those translators for the people that he would encounter once he got over to the Americas, to the Western Hemisphere. And those translators were Hebrew speaking translators, so they could translate the Hebrew, because he knew he knew that he would encounter the Hebrew Israelites, the lost 10 tribes of the Northern Kingdom in the Western Hemisphere, when he got off those boats. So that's what this day is. Today is what they so-called Thanksgiving, right? And that's because they're celebrating the destruction, demise, and stealing of the Native Americans' land, and used the Southern Kingdom to build their country on top of their Northern Kingdom brethren's blood that he saw shed. So that was all biblical prophecy. So Genesis 49 and verse 19, Gad, that's the so-called Native American, so-called Native Americans, and then also Gad and Reuben, the Seminole Indians. So Gad, a troop, shall overcome him, and that word troop in the Hebrew, like Gadad, I think, Gadad. So it means a band, a troop, a marauding band, raiding band. So a raiding, that's that. What's a raid? What's a raider? Someone that comes in and takes over and takes what you got. And that's what the Spanish. That's because Christopher Columbus, he was of the Spaniards, and later would be known as conquistadors, which means conquerors. And so they came over here and conquered our our Northern Kingdom brethren. So a troop, band of divisions of army for array. So, the armies. And what happened shortly after Columbus touched down over here in the Americas, over, in the islands over there, war ensued, shortly after, right? So reading it again, verse 19, Gad, a troop, an army shall overcome him. And they called that what? Manifest destiny. When they took over this country, they just called it as that's their destiny, to overcome, to be able to come and take this land at will, at blood, by gun, by hook and crook, right? It says, but he shall overcome at the last. So who shall overcome at the last? Gad represents, all the Northern Kingdom that was over here, because it was the lost 12 tribes, and they all got taken down over here. So if he's going to be, if Gad's going to overcome, the Northern Kingdom's going to overcome at the last. What does that mean? That means that Manifest Destiny has a part 2, has a sequel. So the sequel is Esau being overcome. And so we'll get the precepts that was referenced. Columbus, he was over there quoting scripture. He was quoting the Bible. He said, Esdras is the reason why I have such faith that land over there exists, because contrary to popular belief, they like to make the world think that we're, that we're foolish and that we're fools. But actually, we are the scriptures say we're the former of all things. And so they always follow our lead and then destroy us, and then make us seem like they're the good guys, and that we're dumb and savage. That's what Indian means, savage. And every other byword and proverb and byword of the curses in Deuteronomy 28, that was prophesied as well. So 2nd Ezra 13 and 40, those are the 10 tribes, that's the northern kingdom, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. So that was the Assyrians. And then we know later the Assyrians got taken down by who? The Babylonians, and it became the Assyrian Babylonian. It's also known as that, the empire, and then the Babylonians took down the southern kingdom. But reading on, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another country. So they took away the northern kingdom into their place of captivity. Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, talking about the northern kingdom, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. So they went ahead and they communed with one another and said, okay, let's go ahead and leave these heathen, because they were living righteous lifestyles and they were being influenced and impacted by them. And so they were like, let's leave and let's go to basically to the Western Hemisphere, because they knew that land, that there were land over there, and that it was uninhabited. It was free land for the claiming. And so, because this earth was created for the Israelites, the righteous bloodline, not for any heathen that was going to, because you see what happens to the earth when the heathen are in rule. What's happening? Pure destruction. The Israelites have the commandment and the covenants, the covenant of the Most High, which you rule the earth under the commandments of the Most High, and everything would be peaceful and everything would flourish. But now everything is not. Why? Because the unrighteous bloodlines are ruling the earth right now. So where never mankind dwelt, so they left the heathen and they would go into a further country where never mankind dwelt, meaning the Americas over here. Verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. Because why? The northern kingdom kicked out the Levitical priests, and the Levitical priests navigated down to the southern kingdom and rested over, with the southern kingdom solely by itself. And that's how the northern kingdom became heathen, and the Most High kicked them out because they wasn't keeping the commandments. They knew that they couldn't return back to their homeland, because it just wasn't that time, because the Most High put certain spirits to activate and put forward certain prophecies. The northern kingdom had to come over here for the latter end times, for all of these prophecies of us going into captivity one last time in Babylon the Great. It was pretty heavy and deep. So it says, verse 43, and they enter into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. Verse 44, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood, that's the ocean, till they were passed over. So the Most High mercifully, because the ocean is a very scary place when it's, the raging waters, when it's have skyscraper tall waves that can form, and so the Most High stilled the flood. So everything that happens, the Most High, if the ocean is raging, it's because the Most High wants it to rage, because we're in heathen rulership time. So the ocean's going to be roaring like crazy in the very depths of it, in the deepest parts. And then, in a peaceful, righteous rulership, then, the ocean is going to be relaxed, but it still can roar, wave back and forth. But anyway, so, and the signs in the heaven is, the stars, because the northern kingdom, chiefly, I believe the tribe of Issachar, they specialized in being able to read the constellations and getting the orders from because the stars is merely a kind of like a verbal command center at certain instances, because we went to war, and based off of the signs in the heaven, the constellations, we knew which way to go and what to do through the commandments of the Most High, through the stars and the alignment of them. So it's pretty heavy. And so tribe of Issachar, that was their specialty as a tribe, to read the signs in the heaven And then the Most High had navigated them through the signs in the heavens. So, verse 45, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Arsareth. See, Arsareth means another land. I believe it means. I haven't seen it. It's been a while since I thought upon that name, but I believe Arsareth means another land. And in the Jewish encyclopedia, Arsareth is in there, and it's referencing the Americas. So this is America. So it took them a year and a half to get from the Eastern Hemisphere over there, and going through the passage of the Euphrates River. And then what happened? It took a year and a half to get over here, because it don't take a year and a half to get anywhere around there. So that year and a half journey is all the way over here to the other end of the earth. One second here. Okay. And then so verse 46. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and that's these end times right now, when Christopher Columbus came over here during the Renaissance period, and all of his other gangster tribe, Edomite tribe brethren. The British, the French, the Portuguese, and all of them, all of those different Edomite tribes. And now when they shall begin to come. So they came over here, and they was over here for a season, for a couple thousand years, until Edomites started coming over here to take over the land in which Christopher Columbus, he read the scriptures and knew, and realized, okay, it took them a year and a half, and they journeyed through the Euphrates. If we go that route, we'll go the same route, and we'll get over here. It'll take a year and a half to get over here. And so they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that the Israelites was over here. And so 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish. This is going to King Solomon. With the navy of Hiram, because we had a navy way back in King Solomon times. Because we were the head, we were the leader in all these things, navigating by sea and land, all that. Had a navy way back then. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish. And what's a navy? The ships that go out on the sea. So why would it take a ship that long? That's a very inefficient use of resources. Why would you want, if you're not going far, why would you send the ship out to only come and to come back after 3 years? It wasn't that they were going to a place nearby; they went to a far distance. So it said, and to bring back the things that they, found when they, surveillance, and then they went throughout the land and got certain things, picked up certain things and then put on the ships, and they came back to Israel. So it says, once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. So the key phrase here is once in 3 years. So we just read in 2nd Ezra chapter 13 about the how long that journey took, right? So right here in verse 45, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Arsareth, another land, the Americas. So if it took a year and a half to get over here, and over here, if it took a year and a half to get from the east over there where they came from, through the Euphrates to the Americas, a year and a half. Now just say if they immediately turned around and went back to that same area that they came from, the Northern Kingdom, it would have took them another year and a half. So what's 1.5 plus 1.5? 3. So it would have took 3 years So just say the Northern Kingdom had, they just for doing it, for the sake of it, they just traveled over here to the Americas. It took them a year and a half. Then they turned around immediately, came back. It would have been another year and a half. And so that's 3 years. So that's right here. It says once in verse 22, once in 3 years came the navy, the ships of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. Because I believe that peacocks go into like the, is it Tuki, a word Tuki, but it's really Turkey. Because turkeys are and peacocks. It says a Tuki. That's a, you know, slightly different pronunciation of turkey. So these peacocks is actually turkeys, and we know that the turkey is a native animal to the Americas. The turkey was found in no other land other than the Americas. So that lets you know right there too that the turkey that they brought from over, if turkeys were so common everywhere else, it was a very uncommon animal in that area over there in the Eastern Hemisphere. So they specifically gathered up some turkeys from over here because that's the national bird. That's the basically, that's an exclusive animal in the Americas. And what are they celebrating? What do they eat? Their main course is what? The turkey for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, Thanksstealing, Thanksdealing. So, these are the Israelites, the Northern Kingdom. And when you piece it all together, the great puzzle pieces together, you can clearly see it. When you get these images, you see, because there was also some artifacts. There's multiple accounts, but here's a few of them. This here is called the Los Lunas Decalogue Stone. It says the Los Lunas Decalogue Stone is a large boulder on the side of Hidden Mountain near Los Lunas, New Mexico, about 35 miles south of Albuquerque, that bears a 9-line inscription carved into a flat panel. The stone is also known as the Los Lunas Mystery Stone or Commandment Rock, Law, Statutes, and Commandments. The stone is controversial in that some claim the inscription is pre-Columbian and therefore proof of early Shemitic contact with the Americas. So early Semitic contact before Columbus. So that's a terrible translation of Shum, Shemitic. And Shum means name. And the name rests through the righteous bloodline. Righteous upon the name of Yahweh rests upon the name of the Israelites, the chosen bloodline. Through the righteous chosen bloodline. So before Columbus, this was written by the natives, the so-called Native American Indians, so-called Latinos, so-called Latinos and so-called Native American Indians. So that's the 10 tribes over here writing Hebrew inscriptions in stone, right? And that was going into what? The commandments. It was written in Hebrew. Why would they write in Hebrew? Whatever your national language is, that's what you're going to write in, right? So their national language was Hebrew because they are the Hebrew Israelites, the lost 10 tribes, the Northern Kingdom. So right here it says a large basalt boulder of perhaps 80 tons, chiseled flat on one side and inscribed with 9 lines of text. The language of the text is apparently Hebrew. They won't say apparently, it is Hebrew. And most translations agree that the text is a representation of the 10 commandments of Exodus 22 through 17. So that's real heavy. A heathen nation that's just random savage people are not going to be writing down the righteous commandments of the Most High. If they're not, they're going to, just like you have when you go to Egypt and you go into those walls and the pyramids and everything, their language is what? Hieroglyphics. So whatever a nation is, that's their language is going to be inscribed on the walls or on stone. and the Northern Kingdom are Israelites. They're the Northern Kingdom. And so they wrote in their national language, the Hebrew language, the Paleo-Hebrew. Paleo means the ancient. And so then there's another thing called the Bat Creek Stone. Since the Bat Creek inscription is an inscribed stone tablet found by John, claimed to have found the tablet in Tipton Mound Tipton Mound 3 during an excavation of Hopewell Mounds in Loudoun County, Tennessee. This excavation was part of a larger series of excavations that aimed to clarify the controversy regarding who was responsible for building the various mounds found in eastern United States. Those mounds going into like pyramids, because we built the pyramids in that captivity under the Egyptians, and they had that same similar knowledge. And so Esau, he knows that we had that same knowledge. It was passed down, and there's multiple pyramids throughout Mexico as well, because they knew the architecture, because the architecture was passed down, because we're the ones that built the pyramids in ancient Egypt. We're the ones that did it. And so he knows that, and when he sees those pyramids over here, he gets probably, terrifies him, because he was like, these are the people that built the pyramids in ancient Egypt. They call it mounds, but those mounds, quote unquote mounds, are pyramids. It's not as large as those other ones in Egypt, but there's still many pyramids. In the late 19th century, when the tablet was found, Cyrus Thomas, the director of the mound excavations, concluded that the inscription presented letters from the Cherokee alphabet. This interpretation was accepted at the time, but contested about a century later by Cyrus Gordon, a scholar near Eastern cultures and ancient languages, who re-examined the tablet in the 1970s and proposed that the inscription represented Paleo-Hebrew of the 1st or 2nd century. So the first guy that found it in the 1800s, he just chalked it up to being some Cherokee alphabets. And then, Esau, they're pretty ignorant, so they just went with it, right? So, okay, I guess it's just chalk it up to just Cherokee alphabet scribble, that they didn't really understand. And then so later on, it was re-examined by someone else about 100 years later in the 1970s. And he realized that those characters, those character letters, were ancient Paleo-Hebrew. So that's called the Bat Creek Stone. So we had inscription in Hebrew. The Northern Kingdom wrote in the Paleo-Hebrew all throughout. That was the language, because they are the Israelites. And then this other one called the Decalogue Stone. It's called the Newark, something, I forget exactly what it's called. Like some Newark stones found in Newark, Ohio. So it says the Decalogue. In November of 1860, David Wyrick of Newark, Ohio, found an inscribed stone in a burial mound about 10 miles south of Newark. Yeah, the Newark Holy Stones, as I see it up at the top right there. But so the Newark Holy Stones. The stone is inscribed on all sides with a condensed version of the Ten Commandments. No heathen. The name of the Most High is dreadful among the heathen. I believe that's at Malachi 1:14 or Micah 1:14. So heathen are not going to be inscribing. They're not going to be rehearsing the commandments. They rehearsing their own heathen false gods and false idols that they have. Just go look at the other heathen nations today and what they're doing. They don't have the spirit to go and strive for the Most High and the commandments. They strive for their own made-up religions. So the stone is inscribed on all sides with a condensed version of the Ten Commandments, or Decalogue, in a peculiar form of post-exilic square Hebrew letters, because the pure ancient Hebrew is that's you can tell it's a distinct square type writing, letter characters that we write in. So It says in a peculiar form of post-exilic square Hebrew letters. And so that's how it looked there. I believe that's a depiction of Moses, I believe. And then around the edges right there, all the way around, those are the ancient Hebrew letters. You see the squareness of the letters, of the characters. And I see the one letter looks like a W shape. That's a Shah, and that's Ra. I believe that's Ga. So yeah, so when you look at them and break them down, you can make out the words, when you understand the language. But so that's they wrote the Ten Commandments in the condensed version to fit around there in a tight, oval shape right there. And so yeah, that's the Israelites, the Northern Kingdom. That's the tribe of Gad, Reuben, and Ephraim, Parium in the Hebrew, and yeah, that's the Israelites, the so-called Native American Indians, the Seminole Indians, the Latinos, the Lost Ten Tribes. Why would they have all of these different artifacts? And these are just a few. I'm sure they've probably found even more things that they don't tell us about that they found. That's even more concrete and just painfully obvious that they're the Israelites. So we'll go to Exodus 19 and verse 4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagles' as wings, and brought you unto myself. So, because the chariot, so-called UFO, that's a buzzword. Eagles' wings. What does an eagle do? Fly. So we were guided by that pillar of a cloud by day and that pillar of fire by night. That chariot was guiding us through the wilderness, away from Egypt into the promised land. Verse 5. The land that flowed with milk and honey, and that's how the Most High brought us into Him. And His face is only over the nation of Israel. That's that one pit, the pit or land of Israel. Verse 5. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my commandment, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So if the earth is the Most High's and He chose us to be His chosen nation, then that means He's going to give us the entire earth. The earth has always been for the righteous bloodline. So call hello Yama, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chakudash for that. It's an infinite blessing. That's that birthright that Esau, he hates, that he sold, but it was always meant for the righteous bloodline, because wickedness is only for a moment. So how can wickedness have the birthright? Doesn't make sense. It's just the way the Most High allowed it to play out. So now therefore, if ye will obey my voice and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure. And we saw when they did those excavations, there was a lot of peculiar findings and peculiar writings, and they realized, probably to their horror, that we are the Northern Kingdom or Israelites. But beginning with Columbus, and he taught and passed it on over to all of his other Edomite brethren, that Esdras, that they're the Israelites over here in the Americas. So verse 6, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So the peculiar writings, the peculiar language and characters of the Hebrew is a very peculiar. It's a very peculiar thing for the heathen, and also it sets us apart, from everyone else. So we'll go to 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye shall show forth the praises of Him who hath called you out of darkness into His marvelous light. And that's going into read verse 10, which in time past were not a people. See, we were not a people. We got discontinued from our heritage. And it shows you that Peter was writing to the Israelites that at that time, this was during the Greco-Roman Empire, because the Israelites we had became like Greeks and the Romans and other heathen, and then that's how they became Hellenized and lost their identity. A good amount of a good amount of Jews had lost their identity through that 300-year period of the Greek Empire to the Roman Empire, and Peter was writing unto them, the lost sheep, the lost Israelite sheep that became heathen. And then this also speaks about us now in these times here. We lost our identity because the Most High said in Jeremiah 17:4 that we will be discontinued from our heritage. So this is talking about us as well, from Peter, by Peter, talking to the lost Israelites. Verse 10, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of Yahweh, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. And now we have obtained mercy again, through the in the valley of dry bones. We lost our heritage, and we became dry bones because we didn't know, we didn't keep the commandments. We didn't know about the commandments. We didn't know who we were. We thought we were black, Negro, and all these different names. But now we're alive, we're living again. The Holy Spirit has quickened us, and now we're back alive again, spiritually. That's true living, spiritually, not just living in the flesh. And but yeah, so that's just more undeniable proof, just rehashing, because today is that evil day of celebrating the slaughter of our Northern Kingdom brethren here, called Thanksgiving, but that's actually our Israelite brethren, and they are the lost 10 tribes of Israel, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians, or the lost 12 tribes of Israel. So with that being said, hope this video was edifying. Bahasham Yahushai. Till next video, I say, Shalom.